Hey guys, it's Mo and Fry with Mo in the Morning and Fry, of course. Who can forget Fry? Fry, my loyal co host, as always. And he's awake this time. Who knew? It's good morning, Debbie J. Or JC, sorry. I am doing great. Fry is awake. The boys are still on fall break, and I set them up with their homework. They are on break because they have done one page and we have established they do one page and then they get an hour break because that's how we homeschool. Well, that's how we do it when they are on, fall-ish break. Thank you. Oh, we've changed it to Irish. Okay. Awesome. You guys change your names and I have to read. It's a morning thing to make sure I'm awake. Irish Latana or Tehana. Guys are doing morning, make sure Mo's awake things. This is not fair. Let me edit this so I can get your comments up and you can still see the Frybird because we all know you guys are here for the fry and I respect that. Good morning, Joyce. Good morning, Sal. In our first very important story, a German engineer has custom created a Nerf gun that fires 11 darts per minute or per second. And Mr. Mo has decided this is on his Christmas wish list. Uh, Seeing how much mess it makes, this is on my Christmas no list. Good morning, Rabbit. Let's see. A German engineer custom built a toy minigun capable of firing off 684 Nerf darts in 1 minute, more than 11 per second. Thomas Bush's Moab, or Mother of All Blasters, broke the Guinness World Records for fastest motorized foam dart gun fire rate. Who is the person that has to go through the Guinness Book of World Record and say, "Hey, some guy built this Nerf blaster guy thing. Do we have a record for this?" I want that job. Good morning, One Blessed Nana and Gigi, always here. Pesky Citizen, hello. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining me. Uh, Bush said the darts fly out at a speed of 44.7 miles per hour, approximately the same as a standard Nerf gun. But he said the high rate of fire adds a little sting. It does hurt a bit. All I can, it's sad, but I have become that mother. I'm like, but you'll shoot your eyes out. Kaiser, I don't do math. Okay, well, if you have one of those, he said he had to oh gosh, the, printer model-y thingies. He had to use one of those things. All I feel bad, but I've become the mom from the Christmas Story. I'm like, "But it'll shoot your eye out." Friberto, I put up the camera on the well, could you not do that on camera? And you go out of the it's you know, you just can't win for losing some days. You just can't. No pork rinds for you, sir. Alrighty then, as we have taken the pork rinds from the Frybert who thought he was going to get away with that. Good afternoon this way up. Well, I don't know. Having 3 boys, I can only say that I don't know that the ER wants to see that much of me, so this will not be something that we are getting at the Mo house if I can help it. But Mr. Mo is definitely intrigued, and he might wanna get one of those, 3D printers if this is really something that we can do with a 3D printer. Bush said it took 2 years to build the perfect Moab using 3D printed parts modeled after a real Gatling gun technology. Quote, "A lot of people modify and tune their Nerf blaster, and there are over 1,000 different models available. I always wondered why no one had ever built a Nerf blaster which uses Gatling mechanics because it would allow a way to a way higher firing rate. So I decided to build my own, he said. Bush said he was still working to perfect the Moab, and he believes he will soon surpass his own record by firing up to 50 darts per second, and eventually he hopes to fire 100 darts per second. You know, as an American, I think Kaiser and I, me having absolutely no skills and or uh, I don't know if we can cross state lines, Sal. That does look like something we'll need to consult our general lawyer friends about, being only lay tubers. But I believe American pride must be restored. Kaiser, you and I, we're teaming up. I'll be the idea front woman, like the what's her face from, oh gosh, that big scandal lady. Names escape me this morning, but the blonde front woman of that big scandal, uh, where she was selling and hawking the, blood test that'll cure everything and got a billion investors. And you'll do all the grunt work. As per usual in all these scandals, you have a lovely front woman who's just the mouthpiece, and then the dudes do all the work. But for American pride, I'm willing to let you do all the work. There, Theranos. I knew there was a word. I knew it. I knew chat would help me when I was having a brain fart. But there you are, Kaiser and Mo teaming up for American pride. We are making a Nerf gun to surpass the Germans. The gauntlet has been thrown, and we will Elizabeth Holmes. I knew it was something, and doggone it, I used to be able to do this. I really did. I used to have like 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon. In other news, um, for real, y'all, I am not dead. A Missouri woman was mistakenly declared dead in 2007, and she is still trying to prove that she is alive. Quote, I am here. Here I am still stuck and no one can help. Madeline Michelle Carthen said, I just want answers. Yes. This poor woman, I feel so bad for her. 16 years ago, Madeline Michelle Carthen was preparing for a summer internship in Ghana after she was accepted into Webster's University intern exchange program after she received shocking news. Her social security number was associated with a dead person. I know, just like the rest of us. Quote, I laughed, Carthen from St. Louis, Missouri said in a phone call Tuesday, adding she initially dismissed it as a simple mistake. I said, quote, what do you mean? I'm sitting right here. I've been at school over a year and a half. How am I dead? Is this going to affect my international internship? Yes, please like and subscribe, share with your friends if possible. The mistake wasn't a simple fix and cost Carthen, now 52, her livelihood. She had to withdraw from school and over the years has been fired from jobs, kicked out of her home, all because on paper it says she died in 2007. Oh no. I just know I'm alive. I don't care what AI says or software says, but I'm alive, she said, but it's hard to prove that. Dale Gribble was right. Computers are evil. Carthen's world began to unravel in the summer of 2007 when the business technology student and mother to a 13-year-old had been accepted to Webster's International Business Intern Exchange Program, giving her the opportunity to travel abroad. She had to reapply for the summer semester financial aid to help cover expenses. It was during this time that her financial aid advisor learned that Carthen's social security number listed her as deceased. The school officials told her to contact the Social Security Administration, and she said she would have to withdraw until the situation was fixed. Carthen immediately reached out to the Social Security Administration and learned that she had been added to its death master file, a data source compiling internal Social Security records of people who had died who possessed Social Security numbers. She said she was told her name had been added in error and she received what is called a death erroneous letter to give credit bureaus to show she was still alive. Well, it got worse. Welcome, Rosamond Ranch and Tia Nieta. I'm so sorry. I know I probably mispronounced names. It is not on purpose. just mispronounced names. So I am very sorry. It got worse and worse, because it wasn't creditors. Being in the Death Master file, it went to the IRS, it went to the Department of Homeland Security, it went to E-Verify, all of these things. It just started affecting my life, she said. Carthen said her existence on paper was essentially erased, causing a ripple effect she never imagined. Over the years, she was let go of jobs because human resource departments couldn't process payroll under Social Security numbers. She had vehicles repossessed and she's been kicked out of homes. Carthen, who currently lives with her sister, says she could not obtain a mortgage. Sometimes I can get a job and then within so many months, there's going to be a problem. So I can't, it's like I can get it and then it's yanked back from me. I don't know when it's going to be yanked back, she said. To this day, Carthen doesn't know how her name got on the list. I wonder if there's any lawyer that could help her. I don't know if she's spoken to a lawyer or this hopefully this article being in national news, not on my channel obviously, but on national news will help her get some connected to someone that can help her because this is awful. Uh, the Social Security Administration said if people suspect that they have been incorrectly declared dead, I mean, I hope there's not a bunch of people that have been incorrectly declared dead. They need to head to their local Social Security office as soon as possible. The agency provides a list of documentation the person needs to bring, noting that only one piece of identification is needed, and apparently yourself to prove you're not dead, I would hope. A spokesperson for the Social Security Administration did not immediately respond to a request for comment. Carthen said she has relentlessly tried to have her name removed from the Death Master file. She has submitted dozens of documents to the administration, has contacted 4 U.S. presidents to get help over the years, and has reached out to other government officials. She has even filed a federal lawsuit in 2019 against the Social Security Administration and other government agencies, but it was dismissed because the government has sovereign immunity. In 2021, Carthen thought she had made slight progress when the administration issued her a new Social Security number. That same year, she legally changed her name from Madeline Colburn in an attempt to distance herself from the fiasco. But the triumph was short lived, as she said her new Social Security number continues to be flagged because it is still connected to her old one. Good Lord. Here I am, still stuck, and no one can help, she said. I just want answers. NBC affiliate KSDK of St. Louis, Missouri, covered Carthen's case in 2007. The news station said this week that it's working with her to try and get the issue fixed. Quote, I don't know how this is going to work out. I just keep advocating and fighting. And when I say fighting within my spirit, sometimes I want to give up, but my faith is too strong. I don't care if it takes 20 years. I'm still going to do what I got to do to make the situation right, not just for myself, but others. This poor woman. I mean, this poor woman. In weird news, apparently curly fries were not the option of choice. Jack in the Box responsible for drive-through worker firing gun at a family in a fight over curly fries? I don't know. I don't read the articles before I put them up and we go through them ourselves. Or we go through them together. Yeah, I know. I thought just getting, new paperwork and stuff for the kiddos was hard, but this poor woman, a family who says that a fast food worker opened fire at them after a fight over curly fries, said the restaurant chain is responsible for the violence and needs to change its hiring practices. Anthony Ramos, a Florida resident, was temporarily in Texas in March during 2021 during post Hurricane Harvey recovery work. On March 3rd, after picking up his wife, Geraldine Ospina, and her 6-year-old daughter from the airport, the three of them went to a Houston Jack in the Box at around 11:30 p.m. According to the lawsuit, the family didn't quite get what they were paid for. I mean, I will say everyone is hangry. It is you just got off out of the airport. It is way past everyone's bedtime. Okay. After ordering a combo meal, Ramos and Ospina realized that the curly fries that were supposed to come with the order were not in the bag. I have never had Jack in the Box. I do not know about the curly fries, but I will say I love me some Arby's curly fries. So I don't know if I would go to like but I do get upset when, I pay for something and it's not put in there. So now do I go to like fist fight levels? No. But let's see. They told drive-through worker Analia, okay, Analia Ford that the fries were missing. Defendant Analia Fantasia Ford refused to fulfill the order that the plaintiffs had already or that had paid for already, the complainant says. Although Ramos and Ospina asked to speak to the manager, the issue wasn't resolved. In fact, it escalated. The defendant, Analia Fantasia Ford, began cursing at the plaintiffs and yelling at them to get the F out of here. Well, service with a smile may not be their tagline anymore. I don't know what Jack in the Box tagline is, but service with a smile might not be it anymore. Get the F out of here might also not be the tagline you want to put out in there, but it might work in some stores. Quote, plaintiffs started arguing with the defendant, Miss Ford. At some point during the argument, the defendant, Miss Ford, threw ketchup, ice, and other items at the plaintiffs inside their car. At that point, I would have just driven off. I mean, I'm not gonna sit there and fight and get cursed at for curly fries. It seems like at some point, it's not worth it, but that's just me. Look, maybe the curly fries are so excellent at that point, it's a pride thing, and that's the hill that you choose to die on. According to the lawsuit and fitted video footage released by the family's attorney, Randall Kalin, Ford then, quote, pulled out a gun. Ramos and Ospina quickly drove away as Ford then shot at the plaintiff's car. Well, that escalated quickly. Yeah, she might not be a public service worker. Like, she might be one of your, not with public people. Has she considered telemarketing? The video shows that at some point during the confrontation, food was thrown from Ramos and Ospina's car at the drive-through window. Ford herself appeared to have been struck with some sort of food item. That is hilarious. The complainant notes that Ospina's daughter, identified as in the complainant as AH, was in the backseat of the car at the time, and Ospina herself was pregnant. The family was so shaken by the incident that Ramos quit his job in Houston and returned to Florida. I, I mean, I have been upset. Look, when Mo was pregnant, there was a time when she would ask for, just a large Coke and an order of the onion rings at Burger King. I know they're not real onion rings, but they're chopped up onions of some sort and the zesty sauce. And the amount of times that people would forget the zesty sauce and Mo would maybe or may not, be very, very, very mad because you never want to deny, but then you learn which places remember the zesty sauce and you will go there out of your way to get that because look, you learn. Let's see. Ford was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Texas judicial records show that Ford pled guilty to a single charge of deadly conduct, a misdemeanor. Ford was given a year of deferred adjudication, and her case was then dismissed in June. The complainant, which names both Ford and Jack in the Box as defendant, seeks unspecified amount of damages. It alleges negligence on the part of Jack in the Box, saying that the restaurant chain should have conducted background checks and proper investigations of the employees so that they employ individuals that can provide safe environments to customers. The complaint also says that the restaurant doesn't have sufficient codes of conduct and employee manuals to prohibit carrying and bringing weapons to the restaurant so they do not represent any danger to the patrons. Well, they are in the great state of Texas, and I I don't know that that's going to fly, but I mean, you can try it. I you know, it it's worth a shot. I don't know that you have a case against Jack in the Box, but eh, I mean, let's be very honest. You're probably not going to get a whole lot of money from Miss Jones. So I'm sure that they're hoping to get a lot of money from Jack in the Box. Let's be honest. Jack in the Box needs to do background checks on their prospective employees, and the manager needs to intervene if an employee escalates an argument with a customer, Kayleen said in his statement emailed to Law and Crime. Quote, while we cannot comment on ongoing litigation, we are aware of a situation involving an employee and one of our independent franchisees and remain focused on providing a safe environment for our customers and restaurant workers, a Jack in the Box spokesperson said in an email statement in response to Law and Crime's request for a comment. Friberto, I swear to goodness. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're going to get a lot of money out of this. It seems like a Hail Mary. It seems like everyone was yeah, they're taking their shot and you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So yeah, well, in, kind of big breaking news, this happened yesterday, and we kind of covered it a little bit. Suzanne Morphew's remains were found in Colorado. No arrests were made, authorities said. Joyce, that is hilarious. Yeah, that's my guess is they're kind of going for an out of court settlement, and, more power to them. Agents with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation stumbled across human remains that were identified as 49-year-old Suzanne Morphew, who had been missing since Mother's Day 2002. The CBI agents were searching an area in Moffat in Chattahoochee County on Friday regarding a different case when they located the body. The El Paso County coroner positively identified them as belonging to Morphew on Wednesday, said the Chaffee County Sheriff's Office in a press release. The sheriff's office declined to release the specific location of the remains, and no arrests have been made since the body was discovered. Quote, while this case has garnered the attention of people from around the world, it has touched our community and the sheriff's office deeply, said Chaffee County Sheriff John Spessy. Quote, we have never stopped our investigation and will continue to follow all leads in pursuit of justice for Suzanne. Spessy said that locating Morphew's body is a critical part of the investigation, but investigators are still left with many more questions than answers. Morphew vanished during a bike ride on May 10th, 2022. Authorities located her bicycle, but she was nowhere to be found. Prosecutors with Colorado's 11th Judicial Circuit charged her husband, Barry Morphew, with a murder, but they had to drop their case after Judge Ramsey Lima slammed them for an obvious and egregious violation of discovery protocol and lesser violations, and limited the state's ability to present evidence at the upcoming trial. The most serious violation, Lima wrote recently, surrounded the state's alleged lack of complete candor regarding CODIS match to a possible known suspect's DNA. CODIS is a federal database that contains DNA evidence connected to criminal activity. Colorado Bureau of Investigation found what Lima referred to as an unknown male DNA on various items of the crime scene. The interior cushion of the bike helmet, Miss Morphy's bike, the glove box and backseat of Mr. Morphy's Range Rover. Mr. Morphy, along with other investigative personnel working the scene, were excluded from the source sample, the judge concluded or continued. Rather, quote, the unknown male DNA partially matched DNA found in 3 out-of-state unsolved sexual assault investigations, Tempe, Phoenix, and Chicago. Lima allowed the case to move forward, but curtailed the amount of evidence the state could present in trial. He will come back. Text messages Susan Morphy sent to a friend before she died suggested she believed her husband was dragging one of the couple's daughters into a troubled relationship between husband and wife. Messages also suggest Susan Morphy believed Barry Morphy was manipulating at least one of the girls to stay on his side. Good morning, Carlene. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I've seen a lot of cold cases, kicking off, so I'm trying to keep everyone updated and continue to work on Delphi, so I'm trying. Uh, quote, "He is not stable," she wrote in apparent reference to her husband. "It's guilt and a desperate measures he's taking." Prosecutors dropped their case without prejudice, meaning they can refile charges against Barry Morphew in the future. The body was discovered in Moffat, around 75 miles south of Chaffee County. Moffat is in the 12th Judicial District, and District Attorney Ann Kelly has been notified. It's not clear which district would prosecute the case now that Susan Morphy's body has been found. So this is kind of big news. I think we'll be following it. I had not known of the unknown male DNA. This is very troubling that we again have another case in which the state is dragging their feet, giving discovery over to the defense, withholding exculpatory evidence. I mean, we're seeing it in the Karen Reed case. We're seeing it in the Delphi case. We're seeing it in many different cases, and it's becoming very worrying. Um, so it is becoming worrying that this is seeming to become a tactic that prosecutors are using in let's say weaker cases, allegedly. Oh, wait. In funnier news, the haunting's gonna cost you more. Oh, Nunya, I hope your hand is feeling better. I didn't realize your hand was hurting, but I hope it is feeling better. And I hope Jonathan is feeling better too. Hello, unbronzed Aussie. That haunting is gonna cost you more. Probably haunted sign posted outside funeral home for sale. Funeral home is listed for sale in Massachusetts, and it's getting attention due to a sign posted outside the property saying it is probably haunted. I know. I wish I had well, $800,000 and it wasn't in Massachusetts. 'Cause I have always wanted to, live in My Girl in the My Girl house. Quote, "It's been standing for many years and certainly has some history to go with it," Ecker told WCVB-TV. "I'm not sure if it's truly haunted, but given its age, I suppose it's is a possibility." The house was constructed as a single-family home in 1850 and was converted into a funeral home in 1948. The listing states the property, quote, "could be easily converted back into a single-family home." Now, why would you wanna do that? Okay, we're all going in together. We're buying a funeral home. It's gonna be a chat clubhouse. So, when we're all in Boston to just have fun and do wicked accents. The building, which features 3 bedrooms, 5 bathrooms oh, heck no, no, I already have to deal with 5 bathrooms. It's a pain in the behind, I'm gonna tell you, it sounds awesome, it's a pain in the behind, you have to clean all of them. Uh, has been owned by the same family since the 1940s. Yeah, it's definitely haunted, they want out. If you want if you want a haunted house, I say go with that. Go with your haunted house. In, sheriffs behaving badly The sheriff, his girlfriend, and his illegal subpoenas. I did find this funny, but apparently sheriffs are behaving badly all over the place. My first article from the New York Times. Powerful figures in Mississippi, including the attorney general, two judges, a future congressman, learn how a sheriff lied to spy on his girlfriend, and they kept it all secret. So it looks like Mississippi is going to be cleaning house fairly soon, possibly. Good morning, Holly Moore. In 2014, Brian Bailey, the sheriff of Rankin County, Mississippi, made what seems to be a series of routine requests of the local district attorney's office. He needed grand jury subpoenas, he said, to force the phone company to turn over records of calls and text messages for what he called a confidential internal investigation. Sheriff Bailey scrawled a brief note on a subpoena form and gave it to a paralegal in the district attorney's office. Uh, quote, please keep this confidential between you and I. The note read, possible wrongdoing by a school district employee, end quote. I know. We just need a club. We need a chat clubhouse, but we need it somewhere centrally located. So I'm going to go center of the earth. I wonder if Doomcock has an adjacent clubhouse near his, castle fortress Xanadu. I don't know. But his request had nothing to do with alleged wrongdoing or any criminal investigation, according to a previously undisclosed report obtained by the New York Times and the Mississippi Center for Investigative Reporting at Mississippi Today. Instead, Sheriff Bailey tapped into the power of the grand jury at least 8 times over a year to spy on his married girlfriend and the school employee with whom she was also unfaithful, the documents show. Yes. Wow, well, she was just, spreading her favors all over the daggone place, wasn't she? Yipes. The investigative report compiled in 2016 by the district attorney at the time, Michael Gust, laid out the evidence that Sheriff Bailey had duped the prosecutor's office and potentially violated state law on fraud, a felony that carries up to 5 years in prison. Mr. Guest, now a U.S. congressman and chair of the House Committee on Ethics, well, that's gonna sting just a little bit. Decided he could not pursue the case further because of the conflicts of interest, including his years-long friendship with the sheriff. He told two local judges what he discovered and passed his investigation on to the attorney general, and that's where the matter ended. Okay. According to interviews with the former members in the Attorney General's office, no one questioned the sheriff or conducted a full investigation. Well, this seems to be going full boss hog. Let's see how this ends. Jim Hood, the Attorney General at the time, asked senior attorney to look into the matter but did not pursue criminal charges. Neither his office nor Mr. Guest informed the state agency that oversees law enforcement certifications, even though Mr. Guest was violating a voting member of the board. The agency could have reviewed the allegations and possibly revoked Sheriff Bailey's certification. For several years, every elected official who learned of the allegations kept them secret from the public, leaving citizens of Rankin County in the dark, even as they voted to re-elect Sheriff Bailey twice. He is on the verge of another re-election, having won the Republican primary in August, facing no opponent in November. Mo is wondering if she can move to Mississippi and run for sheriff with no criminal. With his conduct is the latest series of examples uncovered by the Times and Mississippi Today of how sheriffs in Mississippi can act with impunity, often using the power of their office to weaponize the criminal justice system for their own benefit with no risk of being held accountable, even when facing serious allegations of abuse. Sheriff Bailey and his department have been under national scrutiny and federal civil rights investigations since 5 deputies and local police officers pled guilty this year to the torturing of they were part of the goon squad, if you've heard that. So not only has this man had these officers behaving terribly, he's also been shown to be corrupt, using, his power to spy on people when a good person says, "Hey, look, I have a serious conflict of interest. I found out about this. It needs to go up the higher chain of command. I can't do anything about this." Well, good-ish person. They're still a politician, okay? Um, they're like, "Look, you kinda look into this, but don't do anything." Sheriff Bailey did not respond to requests for comments. I'm sure he didn't, nor local officials aware of the allegations in the report, including then Circuit Court judges John E. Emfinger and William E. Chapman III. Mr. Guest declined to comment. Mr. Hood said in a statement that he did not remember all the details of how the case was handled, but he insisted that his office had investigated and made the right call in not prosecuting. Well, I'm sure he did. Well, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. He said he passed Mr. Guest reports on to Ed Snyder, who is a special assistant attorney general working part-time. Mr. Snyder recalled receiving a report, but said he was asked to take a look and not investigate. It's not my fault. Who's the intern here? Has there been anyone that passed away that we can possibly this on? He said he only reviewed what criminal statutes might be used to prosecute. Normally, a case involving possible public corruption would have been handled by a public integrity division within the Attorney General's office. Mr. Hood could not recall why he did not send the case there. Did he smell burnt toast? Maybe he was having just a moment. Uh, but said he trusted Mr. Snyder's judgment. This is sounding a lot like the Canadian Parliament. Like, no one knew anything. It was a Tuesday and Google had failed. Mr. Hood's best recollection, he said, is that he chose not to pursue charges because the sheriff had a plausible reason for investigating the peoples targeted by the subpoena. He said he believed the former office's investigation found those people being in, were involved in some criminal activity, maybe drugs or a home burglary. Neither of those people whose phone calls and texts were subpoenaed were ever charged in a drug or burglary case or any other criminal case. Well, then there is no other public evidence that indicates the subpoena were part of a criminal inquiry. If there had been a legitimate criminal case involving Sheriff Bailey's girlfriend, the sheriff would not have been involved in the case at all, said Matthew Steffi, a lawyer and professor at Mississippi College School of Law. Quote, "There is an obvious and profound conflict of interest here," he said. "If there was a legitimate criminal investigation, the sheriff should not have been subpoenaing his own girlfriend's cell phone records, and he certainly cannot do it without knowledge or direction of the district attorney's office. That the sheriff has not been prosecuted or otherwise held accountable despite the evidence against him reflects, quote, an utter failure of our criminal justice system," Professor Steffi added. Mr. Guest began investigating Sheriff Bailey in the spring of 2016 after receiving a tip about his use of grand jury subpoenas. He was initially very doubtful and began looking into the matter in hopes of quickly putting these rumors to rest, he wrote in his investigative report. But he soon discovered a series of phone record requests that appeared to be suspicious based on the numbers that Sheriff Bailey had targeted. One of the numbers belonged to Christy Pennington Shanks, an administrative assistant in the sheriff's office who had begun a relationship with Sheriff Bailey while she was married. Well, I'm glad we put her name out there because now everyone knows that she was married and dating. Sure, she's so cited. That's in the New York Times. Her mom is like, "Well, um, I don't know if you noticed this, but in the New York Times, Christy was mentioned. Now, she was mentioned for being a skank, but she was mentioned." Uh, while she was married, according to the report, the other belonged to a local school district employee with whom Miss Shanks was also involved, the report says. Just like, oh my gosh. Miss you know, this sheriff just gets around more. Does he have time to solve crimes? Because he is involved with 2 women, and Mr. Mo says he doesn't understand how, Cody does it with sister wives because he's exhausted just with me, I guess. According to the copies of the subpoena request included Mr. Guest's report, the first request came from Rankin County deputy who emailed the district attorney's office January 30th, 2014, and asked a paralegal there to write up and stamp a subpoena for a list of school employees' outgoing calls that month. Ms. Miss Amison did not respond to a request for comment. Throughout 2014, there were at least 7 more subpoenas for text and calls associated with the number for the former school employee and Miss Shanks. Most of the requests were directed at phone companies to send records to Sheriff Bailey. Grand juries composed of up to 24 people selected from the community operate in secret. They investigate potential crimes, subpoena evidence, compel testimony, and decide whether charges should be filed. Practices vary by state, but typically the district attorney's office files paperwork for subpoenas on behalf of the grand jury without review by jurors or judge. Law enforcement officers can request such subpoenas and serve them on a person or entity holding the records. Directly collect the evidence. Afterward, it is normal practice for the officers to turn this evidence over to the prosecutors who maintain permanent investigative files on cases. Under Mississippi law, grand jury subpoenas can be issued only to aid legitimate criminal investigation. Violators can be prosecuted for fraud and face years in prison. A decade ago, State Attorney General's office under Mr. Hood charged a former Meridian police officer with wire fraud after he forged signatures on a grand jury subpoena to get his wife's phone records when he suspected she'd been unfaithful. He was convicted and spent a year in prison. Experts say the statute of limitations has passed to bring any potential state charges that might have applied to Sheriff Bailey's actions, but details of the case could be getting a second look by federal authorities. Fred Shanks, whose ex-wife became Sheriff Bailey's girlfriend, oh no, he done pissed off Fred Shanks. Uh, Said he was recently interviewed by the FBI. Mr. Shanks, um, Mr. is Mr. Guest's cousin and was the source of the original tip that prompted him to investigate. In an interview with reporter, Mr. Shanks said he told authorities several times that both his and his girlfriend's phones were being improperly tracked by Sheriff Bailey. In 2015, after he got divorced, Mr. Shanks started dating Kristen Librero, an investigator with the Rankin County Sheriff's Office. Miss Liberto said her professional relationship with the sheriff then soured. She found herself under review for leaving work to go to the chiropractor. She discovered a tracking device attached to her car, she said. In October 2015, she said Sheriff Bailey called her into his office and gave her 2 options: resign or be arrested for filling out fraudulent time cards. She resigned and felt absolutely devastated, she said. The sheriff also demanded that Miss Liberto return a piece of county equipment that was in her possession. I want my tracker back, she recalled him saying. Then in 2016, Mr. Shanks received a tip that Sheriff Bailey had previously obtained his and his ex-wife's phone records. He said he immediately called Mr. Guest. Quote, there were multiple people who could have done something about this, but they did nothing, said Mr. Shanks, who was who has represented Rankin County in the Oh, he done went after a legislator. Dude, you don't go after people with like suits and ties and done went into law. I'm just saying. So what goes around comes around, and it looks like this guy is probably going to go down. Now let's see here. This is a bit of an update. It's kind of a sad update. It's at the end. I did bring this story up. This is the mother that had gone on the booze kind of cruise in Mississippi. They have found the body. So let's read the article. Body found after 21-year-old goes missing from Mississippi riverboat birthday cruise. A body has been recovered in the Mississippi River area near where 21-year-old woman went missing while out on a riverboat birthday cruise, police said. Tamia Taylor disappeared following a birthday boat celebration for her 21st birthday on September 9th, where she was last seen mingling with partygoers aboard a Memphis riverboat's cruise, ABC 24 reports. More than 2 weeks later, Memphis police and Crittenden County Sheriff's Office reported finding a body on the Arkansas side of the Mississippi River, and this is so sad. I mean, she was celebrating her life and, you know, whatever happened, this family is grieving, and this is a terrible loss, and I feel so badly for them. I hoped that maybe she had just I had hoped for a different ending for this. Further details on the recovered body have not been publicly shared. Officials are awaiting an autopsy report. The Doc Ellison Foundation, a nonprofit that aids in the search for missing women of color, said Taylor's family is wishing for a negative result as they desperately hold out hope that the 21-year-old is still alive somewhere. So this was obviously a statement put out prior to them finding the body. Quote, "This is very traumatic to Tamia Taylor's family. They are still standing on faith and ask that the community do the same," the foundation said in a Facebook post. Tamia Taylor's mother is standing on faith and will not give up. The family's nightmare began when Taylor failed to return from a midnight booze cruise operated by the Memphis riverboats. The company said there's no evidence that Taylor fell overboard in the night's festivities, claiming that she was seen as the boat pulled into the harbor. Video taken on the boat just past midnight shows Taylor partying on the boat as it returned to its docking station in Memphis. Taylor's mother, Deborah, said that the cruise would have concluded at about 1:30 a.m. on September 10th. A few hours later, Deborah said she received a call that Taylor was missing, with the frightened mom calling the police around 5 a.m., according to the Doc Ellis Foundation. Quote, "Until identification is done, we can't be sure of anything," Jasmine Ellis, the foundation's CEO, told the local outlet. "It's an awkward silence when everyone is at a standstill hoping for the best." Memphis Police and Crichton County Sheriff's Office did not immediately respond to the post request for comment. So it's a sad thing where you're not hoping that this is her because you want her to be passed away, but you're hoping that the family doesn't have to sit with this horrible wondering anymore. But it's also this terrible sadness that you know that this is going to be just the start of this horrible grieving process for this family and the start of so many more questions for them. Um, I have no idea. I don't know anything about sports ball, Kaiser. I wish I did. Uh, so it could be. I can look that up. I have my handy dandy, uh, Post-it pad of all the things I should look up. But let's see. And try not to be a total jackbutt all the time and someone who needs an absolute, karmic, uh, petty alleged petty backhand from the universe. Uh, in Minecraft, a woman destroys a street player's piano and then swipes some of his hard-earned money. And just no home training. No home training whatsoever. This person is just terrible. Alleged human does terrible thing and films herself. Again, if you are going to be a horrible human being, I know that I don't give out much, you know, advice. Don't film yourself because you will become internet famous for being a total douche canoe. These are, young people. She was not in the mood for a melody. A shocking video posted to TikTok captured the moment a drunk woman knocked down a street performer's piano while he was playing and taking his tip in Athens, Georgia. The woman, identified by TMZ as Shantae Hurd, budged her way through the listeners, enjoying Andrew Husu's performance of Billy Joel's hit song Piano Man when she randomly pressed down on the keys of his keyboard. No, stop, two people standing nearby shouted before telling a confused Hustu to continue playing. Well, if she's, s- like jamming her hands on his Casio, I don't kn and I'm sure it's not a Casio, but, he can't really play. The video skips ahead during the night when Husu was still set up on the sidewalk before Heard returns with friends. Of course, she would come back to the scene of her first, douchey behavior, and then she continues. Quote, "So this stuff kind of happens here and there, so I just keep playing through it. But after what's about to happen, I had to stop," Husu said in a voiceover during a viral video that's amassed more than 3.2 million views. Yeah, I'm look, she needs to be made to listen to Baby Shark in every single um, language and all of the Sharknado movies. And I think there's like 18 of them now, and possibly all of the Tremor movies. Including the one where they think they turn into butt blasters. I may have seen all of the Tremor movies. I like a train wreck. Husu tries his best to ignore the heckler when she approaches the equipment the second time. Let me see if now I can play this, but it won't have video or it won't have audio. No, stop. Because Brave doesn't have audio. Oh, well, I'm glad he has typing. Okay. We're gonna speed through him. Oh, and she comes back. What the heck is And she looks surprised, like she's confused as to what gravity is. What? Okay, this woman needs a look. I don't like her intrinsically, but this is where your mom did not treat you or did not teach you to be a good human being. And one day, ma'am, let me explain to you how the world works. One day you are going to be doing something that you love, and someone is going to take a big giant steaming poop on it like you just did to this young man. And you are going to wonder why. You are going to sit there and genuinely wonder why if you continue to have this attitude. And you are going to cry victim. And people are going to show you this particular photo. Now, let's see what happened. Uh, group of people surrounding helpless Husu. Yeah, believe me, this is what happens when children are never told no, because I could go on for about 18 minutes. This is so sad, I'm sorry, this happened, brother, keep playing, making so many people happy, and this guy even said, "Don't harass her." I mean, in his TikTok, he's like, "Look, I'm just showing this. Don't make an issue with her. Don't do anything to her. I do this to make people happy." This guy is such a class act. I hope he gets a bajillion and 12 support points on TikTok. I don't know how TikTok works, y'all. I hope he gets all the followers and monetized and all the TikTok monies. I don't know how it works, but he deserves to get all the positive support. I don't wanna give her any airtime. I hope she just crawls under a rock for a while. G pull eh Look, there is a path to redemption for her. She needs to go and take a long look in the mirror. You have become a very douchey person, ma'am. You have. But there is good in this. You can use this as a learning opportunity, and you can grow out of a douchey person into an awesome person. You can take a little humble pie and okay, now let's see. Heard later issued a public apology on her now private Instagram. So let's see. Claiming her family has been targeted on social media. God, don't you love when people do shitty things and then they complain that they're getting, attacked. They are the bullies and then like, "My family's getting attacked." I took accountability for my actions. I know it was wrong and ignorant of me, but please keep my family out of it. Y'all's y'all problem is with me, not my family. You don't get anything out of texting them or me. I have already apologized to the person. We have talk. Everything is good. No, I didn't steal any money. I didn't break the piano. I'm a human just like you all. She went on. I've seen worse downtown. This is nothing compared to what I did. No, it's not right. The person apologized. I apologized to, accept my apologize. We had a okay. We need to have an English conversation too. We had a whole there has not been one period in this entire damned apology school systems, teachers unions, Mo's gonna explode with a gonna have to hold it in, rant incoming, and I have to get on with Nicholas, so hold it in. Making fake pages, okay. Anywho, she privated her apology, made it in almost incomprehensible English, and said that it was nothing compared she did the Gareth Pursehouse of, "This is nothing compared to what other people have done, and I feel bad about it, and you have made me sad." Um, I Yeah. I hope that she goes back to remedial English and becomes a better person, and yeah. Well, this has been Mornings with Mo. I have not gone on a rant, which is always good. I am going to get off of here, pop on to, the Odinist Delphi trial, so if you wanna go over to that, I do not have the power to direct you. Oh god, no, we have to I can't. I can't you can't make me. I already had to see the Vespa weird crab people from, um, Ahsoka. I'm done. I will see you all in about 3 minutes on Nicholas's channel, so I will be back. Yeah. I will see you guys there. Have a wonderful it's Thursday today, and, I will see you guys in just a couple minutes. Bye, guys.